Hi there, this is Penelope. This is FS3128, Topic 5, Class 4. In the preceding video, we looked at drawing a graph from its equation. This time, we're going to go the other way around. We're going to find the equation of a straight line from its drawing. Here's a graph, here's a straight line. Now, a straight line always has the pattern y equals mx plus c, and m is the slope. Now we've already seen that that is equal to the change in y over the change in x, or maybe the difference in, and c is the y-intercept. Now looking at this graph, we've been given the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0, 2, so we can see that c is 2. Let's put that in what we already have. Now we just need to work out the slope. The slope is going to be the difference in y, which would be, okay, we better find another y point. We could find this point. So that point there is 1, 5. So the difference would be 5 minus 2 over 1 minus 0, so the change in the x is on the bottom, change in y is on the top, so that would be 3 over 1, which is 3. Putting it together, we've got then that y equals 3x plus 2. If we look at something like this, where we've got a straight line going through, say maybe 3, the equation of that line, everywhere we go, y is equal to 3. So there's nothing else we can say there other than y equals 3. Another graph that we might look at might go through, say that point's 2, and go through that point there, and that point there is negative 3, 11. Again, we've got c equals 2. Now all we have to do is to find m, and this point here, remember, is the point 0, 2, so our m is going to be 11 minus 2 over negative 3 minus 0, which is 9 over negative 3, which is negative 3. Now, in the preceding video, we looked at what a negative slope meant, and a negative slope means that the line goes that way, so that's consistent. Putting it all together, we have y equals negative 3x plus 2. This time we don't have the graph, so we're just moving a step forward. This time we just have the points, so we can find the slope. The slope is going to be 7 minus 4 over 2 minus negative 3. So that's 3 on the top line and 5 on the bottom, because don't forget minus minus is positive. That means now we can put that into y equals mx plus c. All we know so far is that y equals 3 over 5x plus c. We need to find c. On the graph we could read it off, but we don't have a graph this time, so what we have to do is work from these 2 points and say either or both of these points will fit into the equation if we've got the equation right. So let's take the first point, it doesn't matter, let's take that one and say 7 equals 3 over 5 times 2, because x is 2, plus c. And if we rearrange that, then we find that c is equal to 5.8. That means our line can be represented by 3 over 5, which is the slope, plus c, which is 5.8. The next question gives us the slope and tells us that it passes through a point. So we've given m equals 4, so we can start off with 4x plus c, and we can apply the same logic. We know that x equals 2 when y equals 2, so we can put it in there. 2 equals 4 times 2 plus c, So rearranging that gives us that c is equal to -6. So our full equation then will be y equal 4x minus 6. Later on, we need to look at finding the slope of a curve, and what we do there is we find the slope of the tangent to a curve at a particular point. We're not going to do a great deal on that in this course, but what we will do is say, well, okay, if I want to find the slope at A, the slope of this curve, this shape, what I'll do is I'll draw a tangent at point A. A tangent just touches the curve once, and I can find the slope of that tangent. So let's look at the gradient of a tangent at point A, and we can see from the diagram that it goes through a couple of points that we can read off. So the gradient is equal to, so change in y would be 8 minus 5 over -3 minus -2. So that's 3 over -1, so that's -3. And that fits because the line is going backwards, so to speak. Let's look at the slope at B. So the gradient of the curve, which is the gradient of the tangent, at B is, now let's look, we've got the point 4, 11, and the point 2, 1. It goes through 3, 6 as well. So let's take the first points as these ones here. So it would be 11 minus 1 over 4 minus 2. So that's 10 over 2, which is 5, and it's positive, which fits because the slope is going bottom left, top right. Slightly trickier one here, but not really. Find the equation of the tangent to y equals x cubed at the point x equals 1, y equals 1. When you get to the diploma course, we will have another method for doing this, but just at the moment, we know some things. We know that it goes through -1, -5, because we can read that from the diagram. We know it goes through 2, 4. We know it goes through 0, -2. We know it goes through 1, 1. So any two of those will give us the slope. Okay, let's take two of them. So let's take this one and this one. So it would be 4 minus 1 over 2 minus 1. So the slope is 3. So thus we know 3x plus c. And if we look at the diagram, we're already given c. C is equal to -2. So we can say here that the equation of the tangent at the point 1, 1 is y equals 3x minus 2. Now there are lots of ways you can find this, and you will find more of them if you go through, but another way of doing it would have been to say y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where y1 and x1 are just a point that it goes through. Another question here, find the equation of the line AB, which is a tangent to the curve at a particular point. So we can see, just by reading it off the graph, that the curve passes through, or the line passes through 3, 0 and 0, -3. So we can find the slope. The slope is going to be 0 minus 3 over 3 minus 0. So that's 3 over 3, which is 1. And if we use that last formula at the bottom of the last slide, we could say, so y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. It's just a different way of finding it. We could say then that y minus -2 equals 1, which I don't really have to write, x minus x minus 1, because that's the point that we're talking about, and that will give us y plus 2 equals x minus 1, and rearranging that will give us that y equals, take away 2 from each side, x minus 3. So the line AB is y equals x minus 3.